Guys, Ice Gamer here. I want to talk to you guys about the state of Xbox. I've been a user of Xbox for 7 years, since 2018. So for me, I've been able to see like the dashboard redesigns, the evolution of Xbox over time, and the different trends that have affected the gaming industry and how Xbox has been managing that. So my basic opinion is that Xbox has been going down in terms of popularity. They're not sharing the amount of consoles they're selling. That should be a very serious factor. They're only showing Xbox Game Pass sales, and the problem with Game Pass, it's not really sustainable. A lot of these people who pay $15 a month, they play one game, something that costs $60 for free, just willy nilly pay for a whole month, and they don't ever play it again. Which, you know, the traditional model was you buy a game and you keep it past the farther than the month. And the problem with this model is that the reward is on new games being pushed, not quality. So when there's something new coming out, a lot of people play it. And when there's always this shiny object syndrome of Game Pass, they're trying to put all their titles into one basket, you lose a lot of money in terms of overall your developers, your companies. And this has already been taking a huge detriment to their company already, that they're having to change their entire business strategy. So let's go back. 360 came out and it absolutely won the PS3 because it was way cheaper, had more features. It was a pioneer of a lot of technology at the time, had a dashboard that was very intuitive and easy to use, and they made online gaming mainstream. Then what happened is the next generation came out, the Xbox One, and then the PS4. Xbox One was designed to be targeted towards like an all media system. So the presentation was very focused on the social media apps, YouTube, streaming apps, stuff like that, not the actual gaming elements. They were talking about how Kinect would be such an innovation and this and that, but what gamers wanted, their true demand, was the games. That's what people bought a gaming console for. And Xbox failed to deliver that. And they forced users to have to pay a lot of money for something they didn't have to, they didn't want to have. They were bundling the Kinect with the Xbox console, and they had a very much higher price than when their competitor, which is PS4. And so what happened is Xbox had a lot of strategies like DRM. So you, for example, a CD or the game you buy, like the disc, will be tied to your Xbox account. So that means you could not sell the game to somebody else. It would only work on your console and your account. PS4 capitalized on that mistake and that poor decision by Microsoft. So because the price and the ability to own your games was an important value for gamers, PS4 won that generation and sold more units. Now, Xbox was in complete failure. Now, they still held strong for quite a long time. But then, the next generation came out, the Series S and the X. And this is where I also think a poor decision was made. They were trying to make a console that was more low powered, underpowered, I'd say, for next generation gaming. And then their competitor was just a very standard, like, we offer the same performance with or without a disk drive for a $50 difference. Xbox was about $100 difference. The Series S was $300, while the Series X would be $400. And so the better decision would have been just making a detachable disk drive and having the ability to choose if you wanted a disk drive or not. A simple choice versus, specs and, all that. Because what's happening is gamer developers are having to port games to the Xbox for two different types of systems. And that means that they have to down the textures. It means more time for development. And that is a huge bottleneck for developers. And this is a huge problem. And so then again, another problem happens and they lost a generation. And now on PS5, they've had a PS5, very simple, looks like a Wi-Fi router. They started capitalizing on the traditional model where you buy games and you get 30% off, 30% of that cut because it's on their store, or etc. They sold it at a loss, but they made money back because of game sales. Microsoft changed. They said, we're going to put our games on other platforms because we want to have games accessible to everyone. Really, the reason is because they're losing so much money from Game Pass that they needed to offer their titles on more consoles so they can get more sales. So that's what happened. They're trying to release a lot of these new games onto PS5, stuff that was exclusive to Xbox. So it kind of becomes useless to really buy an Xbox now because you could buy a PS5 and it'd have a lot of the same titles or the new titles as an Xbox. So it becomes kind of pointless to really sit there and be like, well, do I really need to buy an Xbox if everything will be on a PC or a PS5? So that's a true competition. And so because of that, the Xbox doesn't have much of a sell value now. And now they're depending on cloud gaming as the future for their business. Everything in one basket. All their companies, all the billions of dollars they spent for the brands they've purchased, the gaming companies they've purchased, acquiring Activision, Blizzard, all that. Some of them, they've been put out of business because they had to cut costs, because they were losing so much money. And because so much pressure is on output, we need new game, and the Game Pass favors that. Eventually, it's all going to fail. It's not sustainable. Cloud gaming is not sustainable as a core fundamental thing. And it's not good for anyone, the consumer, for the game companies, and for the Xbox themselves. PS5 has struck in a balance between those two, making sure that the developers, the players, and their stakeholders are happy, meeting their needs. And that's why the PS5 is so successful. They learned from their mistakes. And the detachable disk drive is a test of that. Even if you choose to get the digital model, even if you choose to get the PS5 Slim or PS5 Pro, you can still order a disk drive and still play your physical disc games. But on an Xbox, even on the new Xboxes, you have the Series S or the X, you can't play disc games. They remove it. Something they could make so much money on, they removed it. Something people depended on all their game libraries because Xbox wants to go completely digital for their benefit. And you know what's going to happen? A lot of people are going to abandon, the the Xbox, the PS5, because they can, their libraries of games can work. And that's the big thing. The PS5 Pro, people are crazy about how bad it is. But I don't hear anybody complain how bad Microsoft is doing right now. They're making everybody go digital all those disc games you have, you're forced to only get digital now. Nobody complains about that. There's still no attachable disk drive for the Xbox Series S or the X, even for the new models. So what's the point? And I think, honestly, it's very good publicity for PlayStation to mark their prices so high, because it gets people talking, just like the PlayStation Portal. It became such a big success because everybody is hating on it. Everybody was talking about it. But the thing is what people want is convenience. You buy something, it's simple, easy to use. There's no difficulty around it. People will pay premium for something that's easy to use. And that's what the PlayStation Portal capitalizes on. Instead of having to invest their resources into building a mobile platform for their video games, more development for a separate section, they just focus on streaming. But not like an Xbox Game Pass, but the actual console. So users could use their own PlayStations and stream it from anywhere around the world with the internet connection. And that's absolutely smart. And this is why PlayStation is just winning. They know how to play the game. They know the needs of the consumers. They know how to please the consumers. And this is why they're winning. Xbox is losing, and it's only going to get worse. That is my talk for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I don't see much of a future for Xbox, so personally, I will be getting a PlayStation in the future.